Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. Today we are going to be touching on the topic of COVID-19 and flu season that's coming up. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that COVID-19 has been happening now for the past 6 months, longer than 6 months actually. But everything started shutting down, at least in America, around March timeframe. It's been rough, man. Let's be honest, it's been rough. I know a lot of people have lost their jobs, school has shut down, or at the time they were having virtual classes, which a lot of schools are currently still doing. You know, you couldn't interact with a lot of people unless you were doing it through the computer or through your phone. Movie theaters shut down, malls shut down, just everything that you would normally do on a weekend or to take up your time shut down. I mean, things are starting to go to the new norm. In order to go into any stores, you have to wear a mask. You have to be aware of social distancing. And if you're sick, you have to stay home. So, what exactly is COVID or coronavirus? It is a respiratory illness that can spread from person to person. As you guys know, it spread pretty quickly at the beginning of this year. Once it hit here, it went running. And I know a lot of people think that this is just a conspiracy theory or it's a government plan, but for the sake of other people and everything, just wear a mask. There are people who can get sick and die from a common cold. So even before this whole coronavirus thing happened, we should have been wearing masks to begin with, to be honest with you. And I know everybody's going to hate that comment, but honestly, if you're sick, it should have been enforced to stay home. It sucks because we were kind of trained that, you know, growing up, if you're sick, you push through. If you're sick, you go to school, you go to work, you push through it, you'll get better in a week, no big deal. But it shouldn't be the case. If you're sick, you should stay home. You shouldn't be forced to go to school or go to work while you're sick, because not only does it not do you any better, it doesn't do your peers any better either. But yeah, so we hit the topic of what exactly is COVID. So what exactly are the symptoms of COVID? So symptoms are fevers or chills, you have coughing, shortness of breath, fatigue, muscle aches, sore throat, loss of taste and smells, congestion, runny nose, you have nausea or vomiting, and you have diarrhea. Now, one of the emergency signs or warnings of COVID-19 is if you're having trouble breathing, persistent pain or pressure in your chest, any confusion, inability to stay awake or fall asleep, and bluish lips and face. Fun. So, since COVID-19 took off running worldwide, we have 27.6 million cases. And those are the ones that are recorded, because there are countries, states, counties that do not need to record or have not recorded. And so that's just worldwide from what we know to be reported. Now, deaths. Worldwide, we have 898,000 deaths in the short time that it's been going around. And for the United States, we have 6.35 million cases that have been recorded and 190,000 deaths that have been recorded from COVID. Crazy. Regardless, if you're sick, stay home, y'all. That's pretty much the bottom line. Now, what are some things that we can do while dealing with COVID? During this lockdown period, being able to stay happy was difficult for a lot of people. Now, if you're like me and you're a homebody and you love to stay home and you didn't really have an issue with it, then you may have enjoyed quarantine. But there have been a lot of people that I know who couldn't find happiness or couldn't, stay happy due to COVID. It was very hard to just stay locked up in your home away from everybody and be okay, like mentally okay. Being able to find something that you enjoy that's around your house is pretty important, because if this were to ever happen again, if we would have to go through this again where we're locked down for a certain amount of time, we want to be aware of our mental health and just find things around the house that make us happy. One of the things that I was doing was I started playing video games. I played video games in the past, but before, I didn't have time. I was working 2 jobs, I was going to school, I didn't have time for myself. So the thing that I enjoyed about quarantine was the fact that I was able to slow down and find time for myself and give myself a break. Now don't get me wrong, I love being busy. I love the fact that I didn't have a second to like kind of sit and think to myself and be like, oh my god, what am I doing? I enjoyed quarantine because it gave me that time and it forced me to take a step back and breathe and take a minute and just calm down. I found during quarantine that another thing that helped me was creating a schedule. Again, so since I was so busy before the whole pandemic happened, going from being super busy to not doing anything, I lost track of time. I hate to admit it, but there was a time period where I didn't even know what day it was. I didn't really care what time it was. And that, in the end, did not result into a healthy atmosphere for me. I sat down and kind of thought to myself, well, what would put me in a better mental space? And that was to create a schedule. So I would wake up, do my morning business, make my bed, and go outside for a little bit, watch TV for a little bit, do some chores, read a book, etc., etc., etc. You just need to lay out a schedule in order to kind of keep you productive. Alright, you guys, so virtually socializing. Virtually socializing, I think, is a godsend. I'm so glad that technology is where it is right now, especially after the whole pandemic happened and lockdown happened. The fact that we are able to FaceTime people or Facebook message people or do Zoom with group chats is absolutely amazing. I was able to FaceTime my family. I was able to keep in contact with my friends. And although we were locked down, it still gave me the feeling that I could still communicate with people. During any illness that you have, I think being able to communicate with people is pretty good. It saves you, like, honestly. And that goes to my next point of prioritizing mental check-ins. Say when I wake up, I like to be aware of my mental space. I like to be aware of my energy and emotions that I'm kind of pushing out there. And during the whole pandemic, I was making sure that I knew what was going on mentally. Since we were locked down for so long, and since it's still happening, you just want to make sure that you're mentally there. You don't want to be overwhelmed and shut down and kind of under a dark cloud. Another thing, whenever you are sick or just under lockdown or, off for however long, you want to make sure that you are taking time away from social media and your devices. So there was a few weekends where I would go and shut off my phone. I would shut off my electronics and kind of just spend time alone, especially during quarantine, and just during this time of year. There's a lot of things on the internet that we'll see that is very dark and not depressing, but there were a lot of things that I was seeing on the internet that would get me extremely angry. It's healthier if you can take a break from that. Our routine with our phone is what? We wake up, check our phone. We go to the bathroom, check our phone. Go downstairs, make coffee, check our phone. Just like with anything, you want to kind of step back and take that away. Put your device down, put your phone down, put your computer away, and take a second to gather yourself and clear your head. You'll see how different you are once you're away from all of that. Along with COVID and the flu season coming up, you don't want to stop living your life. I know now, since things are opening up and we're able to go to restaurants and to the mall, there are other people who get anxious, you know, at the thought of going out in public because of coronavirus. And you have every right to feel scared about coronavirus or just about any disease that you can catch while you're out there, but at the same time, you don't want to stop living. During this whole thing, you want to make sure that you're exercising mentally and physically. So make sure that you're still going outside and you're getting your daily walks in. I know gyms are starting to open up too. What I do, I've been going to the gym. I've just been making sure that the gym isn't crowded, and if it seems crowded, then I may go at a different time. I know gyms are also requiring you to wear a mask, which, let me tell you, is hard. I hate doing cardio and not breathing. I can't breathe to begin with when it comes to cardio, so the fact that I have to wear my mask while I'm on the elliptical or whatever is terrible. Absolutely terrible. I cannot breathe. I feel like I'm gonna die. But you want to make sure that you're exercising. It's physically good for you. It's mentally good for you. Schedule that time into your day to get that workout. Even when we all start going back to work and school, it's important for us to still incorporate working out. Now, I'm not saying do it every single day, but if you at least do it 2 to 3 times a week and maybe work yourself up, it'll feel so much better. Now, who actually works out? Who actually likes working out? Not me. I hate working out. Absolutely hate it. I'd rather eat, to be honest. But I don't know. There's like this thing that after you work out, you kind of feel better about yourself. You're just like, oh, is that a 6-pack I see? No, it's not. But, you know, maybe in the future it will come up. Anytime you're sick, actually, you want to make sure that you're still eating and hydrating. While we're in this lockdown and while we're doing virtual classes or working at home, still hydrate. There is this, I got this new bottle, and like on it, it has all these lines, and it like tries to encourage you to drink. The least I try to do is drink 2 of these a day. It's very motivating. Like, some of it says, let's hydrate. You can still do this. Keep it up. Halfway there. Almost there. Time for a refill. Just, you want to make sure that you're still taking care of your body while we're going through this lockdown, while we're still doing virtual classes or virtually working from home. You want to take care of yourself. And that's kind of this overall video, is at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself and your mental health, your body. Because while the world is stopped and paused, you're not. You're still continuing to grow and develop and go through your day-to-day life and activities. You want to make sure that you're still healthy overall. So you guys, wear your mask, social distance, drink your water, and work out. That is all, you guys. I will see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.